Hello everyone, and today we're going to be going over kanji 250 to 270. We're only doing 21 kanji today because I didn't manage to get them all. And yeah, so one thing I wanted to mention, and then I kind of realized, was that I'm also... So the objective of these videos is basically to show you what I'm learning and how I'm learning it, and so that you can follow along and see what works for me, and at the pace that I'm going at with my daily job and all the other obligations that I have in my daily life. So I was realizing that making these videos is actually part of my studying method, and this occurred to me when I noticed some pretty big improvements on some kanji I was having a difficult time with after the video that I made yesterday. So today I was like, oh wow, I recognize a lot of these kanjis that I was originally having a hard time with, and after I made that video I think that solidified it in my head. So you might want to look at making your own videos. You don't necessarily need to make them public if you don't want to. You can make them private, but it might assist you in remembering, just going over them and talking and trying to say it as if you were teaching something. There's always this thing that I've heard where if you teach something, you learn it even better. So that's something to look at. And without further ado, we will move on to the kanji. The first one we're going to be looking at today is going to be the kanji for substitute. And the mnemonic for this one, it's got a few parts down there. It's got human. A lot of people, so the human that's out like that, like where it's a vertical one, a lot of people look at that as Mr. T. So a lot of the mnemonics and the Anki just have Mr. T doing things and being like, foo. So let's just say that this one is Mr. T shooting a substitute teacher with an arrow. That's what it's got in Anki. I just read that. That didn't really help me too much. This is one of the ones I've been having more trouble with. So if you're also having trouble with this one, don't worry, I'm in the same boat. Its kunyami is going to be kawaru, and its onyami is going to be, I believe this is dai. But let's just make sure. You're going to hear my keyboard going off here because I didn't have my translate program. Yeah. Next thing we're going to look at is dwell, reside, or live. It's got the kanji for chief and the Mr. T or person radical. And this one here, I just look at it like where the chief and his people live. That's where they dwell. So that's how I remember that one. Its kunyami is going to be sumu, and its onyami is going to be, I believe, this is ju. Yeah, ju. Next one we're going to look at is use, or send on a mission. This one here is another Mr. T one, so maybe Mr. T uses this like weapon or something like that. I actually have a hard time with this one again. It's got change in it, it's got person, it's got mouth. But I have a difficult time with this one. This is one of the ones I just had to stamp out. So its kunyami is going to be tsukau, and its onyami is going to be shit. Let's make... Yeah, tsukau. Next thing we're going to look at is person in charge, or connection. So the thing on the right, you notice that looks like thread, except it's got a thing on top, and that's like the threads of your ancestry, basically. Like a connection to your ancestors. And then it's got person. So the person that is your ancestry would be like the person in charge of your household. So that's why this one, I think, means that. The kunyami for it is going to be kakaru, and the onyami is going to be kei. K, or K, I guess is how you say that. Next one we're going to look at is double, or twice, times, fold. So this one's another Mr. T one, and if you look on the right, this is mouth and stand up, and that's just basically Mr. T's double. So think of that as like Mr. T's stunt double. And the onyami for this is going to be bite. I guess I'm learning my katakana just by doing this and looking those up every day. Next one we're going to look at is whole, entire, complete, or fulfill. This one is basically the king underneath his little umbrella or house or enter. So I think like entering the king's kingdom, it's like his whole kingdom, the wholeness of the region that this king controls. But I also see people think of this one as just the mnemonic of the king is taking up all the entire space under the umbrella, like the fat king taking up all the space. Maybe that will help you remember it better. The kunyami for this one is going to be, I believe this is maybe extended, so it'd be mataku. Yeah, mataku. mataku. And it's going to be zen is going to be its onyomi. Next one we're going to look at is tool or utensil, means possess, ingredients, a bunch of other stuff. When thinking of tool or utensil, think of that as like the workbench, the bottom part there. That's the workbench, and then it's the eye. So keep your eyes on your workbench so those fools don't steal your freaking tools. Think of it like that, so people don't come and jack your tools off your tool bench. You gotta keep an eye on it. The kunyomi for it is going to be sonaeru. Let's see if I got that right. Sonaeru. Yeah, sonaeru. Sonaeru. And gu is going to be its onyomi. It's also got this other kunyomi here. I guess I can read that one too. I don't know if I should be reading these other kunyomis. Sometimes there's just so many. Maybe if there's two, I'll start reading them. Tsubasani. Let me try that. Tsubasani. Yeah, tsubasani. Tsubasani. Next thing we're going to look at is copy or photographed. And this one here, I guess the symbol on the bottom, people think of it like the Bible or whatever, and then the top part is the crown. So if you think in Britain, the crown actually decides who gets to publish the Bible. So think of it like that. So the only people who are allowed to copy the Bible are the people who are confirmed by the crown. That didn't really help for me. To be honest, this is one of the ones that I had a harder time with. I'm going to start telling you guys. I think I have been telling you guys which ones that I honestly struggle with. This is one of them. I friggin' looked at this thing like 40 times. So I can't remember it. It's copy. Maybe I'll remember it after this. Haha. It's copy, or sorry, kunyomi is going to be utsusu. Utsusu. And its onyomi is going to be, I believe this is sho. Sha. Sha is its onyomi. And its kunyomi is going to be utsusu. Utsusu. Next one we're going to look at is file or row. The thing on the left means bone or bear, and the thing on the right is sword. So if you think of like a bunch of skeleton soldiers lining up or filing in a row, then you can think of it like that. Its onyomi is going to be, and I'm terrible, I think that's ha or furetsu. I was completely wrong. Curse katakana. Next one we're going to look at is help or rescue. If you think of the thing on the left as like a bookshelf and the thing on the right is strength, if somebody's stuck under a bookshelf like, oh my god, help me, it's going to take a lot of muscles to help them and rescue them. So think of it like that. Its kunyomi is going to be tasukeru. Tasukeru. That's the main one. And I guess it's also got tasukaru and sukeru and suke. Or its other kunyomis. Tasukeru. And its onyomi, I believe this one is Jo. Come on, give it to me. Yes, Jo. I'm right on that one. I've seen the freaking katakana enough times. Next, we're going to look at exertion. And if you think of like a rabbit using all of its strength to hop around, like those are big rabbit legs and it's like bouncing around, it's going to exert itself and be tired. The other thing you can think of is that this symbol actually means excuse or dismissal. So an excuse for strength would be like exertion. When you're exerted, it's an excuse for a lack of strength. Its kunyomi is going to be tsuto noru. Or, no, nuru. Meru. Oh, man. That was a bad mistake. Tsutomeru. And, Ben. Like Uncle Ben. Next thing we're going to look at is the one for move. So the one on the left here, this symbol actually means heavy, and that one's strength. So if you think of a really heavy object and when you put strength against it, then it will move. Its kunyomi is going to be ugoku, and its onyomi is going to be do. Next thing we're going to look at is victory, and the thing on the right here actually means it means something else. But it looks exactly like ticket, but there's another symbol that's almost identical to it. But I can't even remember what it is because I remember it as ticket. So the thing on the right there, That's ticket. I just think moon ticket. And if I got to go to the moon, that would be a victory for me because that would be a cool experience. That's how I remember that one. So moon ticket. Its kunami is going to be katsu, and its onyomi is going to be sho. Next thing we're going to look at is change or take form. This is basically if Mr. T took a spoon, he could change that spoon into some sort of boomerang or bend it. He could bend that spoon and change it. And that spoon would take the form of whatever he wanted that spoon to take a form of. That spoon's a fool. Its kunyomi is going to be bakeru, and its onyomi is going to be ka. And bakeru means to take the form of. Next thing we're going to look at is ward. This is very similar to map, and I just see it as like an open map, an open space. That's a ward or a district, like a sectioned off piece of a map. Its onyomi is going to be ku. Next thing we're going to look at is doctor, and this is also sort of an open enclosure, hiding enclosure. I think of this as like maybe like a little area that you go into, and this is darts. So if you think like needles, the doctor uses his darts or needles to heal you, and you go into a little enclosure, and that's where he will administer the needles to you. And that's how I think of that one. That one I have no trouble with, but if you guys do, you might want to look up another one. But that needle thing really just sticks this one in my mind. Its kunyomi is going to be iyasu, and its onyomi is going to be I. Next thing we're going to look at is gone or past, and this one has ground and myself, and basically if you are below the ground, then that means you have gone or passed. You are dead. So, and that's how I remember that one. Next thing we're going to look at is anti, and for this one here, it's just got an enclosure and legs, and a lot of people, so this weird like right hand leg, radical, a lot of people look at that as a crotch. So if I say some pretty derogatory maybe mnemonics, they're all on Anki. So when you read those, you'll see some weird stuff like having to do with crotches. But that's that. Next thing we're gonna look at is take or fetch, and this one here has the ear and the crotch. So if you think of the trick where a magician pulls the coin from behind your ear, think of that but with the same trick but with a crotch. So he leans down to your crotch and goes, okay, I'm gonna magically pull this thing out of it, and that's kind of gross, but that's the mnemonic that's on. There's another one that I'm not even gonna say because it's even worse than that one, but that's the mnemonic that's on Anki, and I guess maybe that will help you remember. Its kunyomi is going to be toru, and its onyomi is going to be shu. I believe this is shu. Yeah, I get that right. Next thing we're going to look at is accept or undergo. And this one is basically another way to look at it, the mnemonic, is that this is like a house, and it's a whorehouse, and a whorehouse will accept any crotch. And that's one of the derogatory ones that involve the crotch. Basically imagery. The kunyomi for this is going to be ukeru, and the onyomi is going to be ju. And the final one that we're going to look at today is the one for nickname. If somebody utters a funny nickname to you, about you, then people will remember it forever. That's one way you can remember this one. Its kunyomi is going to be sakebu. Let's make sure I got that right. Yeah, sakebu. Sakebu. And the onyomi is going to be go. And that's it for today, guys. I'm going to try to do another 30 tomorrow. If not, I'll just do as many as I possibly can. And I'll try to get as many done before I go on my business trip. Thanks for watching. Hopefully everything is going well with your learning of Japanese. And I will see you in the next video.